Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter. I, of course, am Sean. And to my side there is, what's your name?
Me?
Me. Okay. To my side is me. And next to me is...
Me too.
Me too. And of course, the only one that anyone actually cares about. Now back from 2004, Preston, Idaho. After buying a time machine online on a mission to place his puppet regime in power of the student body at Preston High, all in a bid to distract from his true purpose, as he explained in his now infamous speech to a room full of impressionable young minds. Last week, Japanese scientists placed explosive detonators at the bottom of Lake Loch Ness to blow Nessie out of the water. Sir Godfrey of the Nessie Alliance summoned the help of Scotland's local wizards to cast a protective spell over the lake and its local residents and all those who seek the peaceful existence of our underwater ally. He'll catch you a delicious bass and build you a cake, the K-Man.
But he's going to need about 250.
Nice.
Lucky.
I heartily endorse the word explaced, and I think it should be added to the lexicon.
Thank you. I kept that. I kept that in from his actual speech. That's how it was done.
Yes.
That is how it was done, yes.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
Well, I know, Rich, you saw, what did you see? You saw
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Amazingly, I went to a theater.
So what did you think?
Very enjoyable. High cinema. But I will say that compared to what they've been producing on television and the last few movies, it was a very nice return to the kind of quality that I would expect from that production studio. And I could see Ryan Reynolds. It looked like this is what it looks like when you have a single individual driving a project who really wants it to be as good as possible. The material, like Deadpool, is not one of my favorite characters.
No.
But and Hugh Jackman's performance in that film, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. One of the best performances I've ever seen him give, actually.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman has been, you know what, who was asking me about that, if I thought that maybe, it's one too many times to the well, for him as Wolverine and that kind of thing. And I told him, I said, no, I don't mind that, because I think he's really put his heart and soul into this character, even though the movies themselves haven't been good, not all of them. I'm not talking about all of them, but a number of them haven't been good. He has always put his heart and soul into it, and the respect for the character and all that you would hope. And so I know he's wanted to do something like this, that crossover into Marvel, maybe doing like Avengers or something like that. I'm all for that. You want to use the multiverse for that? I think that is a valid reason to do so, just so he can have that opportunity to pay homage to that character and give him the opportunity to do that. I think it'd be great to see it, so I don't have any issues with it in that sense.
You hit the nail on the head. It's the respect.
Sorry.
That's it, you hit the nail right on the claw. But it was the respect of the property. They had vast amounts of respect for both characters. There were, of course, changes, that needed to be made, but there was a respect for, say, for example, and I've seen other commentators note this, there was respect for the movie Logan, where they, in the beginning, even though they made a joke out of it, they said, no, we're not going to change that. That timeline is inviolate. We're not going to do anything with it. He's dead. He stays dead. Done. And they kept to it. And just the small things, the mention of John Byrne was fantastic. The little things about Deadpool that they pulled
homaging the covers from
back
in the day.
Covers. Yes, there were 3 or 4 of them that they did. Yeah, very well done. Although I was disappointed I didn't get to see an MCU Wendigo. I would have preferred the Wendigo to the Hulk, but they wanted that McFarlane cover effect. So, yeah, I was very happy with what they did. I found it to be various parts of it were very.
Yeah.
Some of the CGI in the very beginning, it was off-putting. It seemed a little jarring. That first fight that they had in the woods in the snow, the CGI looked a little rough to me compared to the rest of it. I don't know if it was just an effect of being on a white backdrop or whatever, but it just looked a little rougher than the rest of it. So I will give that small critique to the production value. But as far as the story went, I was in for the ride. It was a great ride. Enjoyed myself. Lots of cool stuff. Seeing the Johnny Storm joke was entertaining vastly. It was right up my alley. And the seeing what's his nuts? The guy who played Gambit. Tatum. Channing Tatum. Seeing him finally, it was kind of some of these actors, he was pushing for that. Oh, and then the best cameo, my buddy Snipes. Oh, fantastic.
Oh, I thought you were. Yeah.
No, I love.
He broke some world records with that.
Yes, longest Marvel Cinematic Universe appearance in history. After 27 years.
I think superhero.
Oh, in general? Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for one actor to play that character.
And his comment, "There'll never be another Blade." I was, oh yeah, awesome. It was very in tune with the meta.
It was,
examination of the entire film itself. He was talking not only to the audience, he's talking to the producers of that show that can't get Hershey Lee's film off the ground. Just can't go anywhere. So that's
I love I loved Deadpool.
Oh yes, what's his Dogpool. Yes.
Dogpool.
Yes. Yes. Every time that dog came running forward with its tongue, and they must have CGI'd that tongue. Yeah. But some of the that way.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. I like that, and I liked what's his face is Wolverine. Henry Cavill.
Cavalry.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool too. Yeah, that they put that in there.
It was apparently he got sick from smoking that cigar from 8 hours a day. He didn't smoke
That's what I heard.
Yeah, and he apparently was sick the whole next day because he had to sit there with it in his mouth, chomping on it for 8 hours. He'd be a good replacement. I would really like to see them do the Old Man Logan with Hugh Jackman. I would love to see that.
I don't know as this is going to be a turning point in anything, though. I don't really think that. I think it's just kind of a one-off thing. They'll let Deadpool do its thing as long as it makes money. They'll leave that alone, but I don't think it's going to affect the rest of the MCU or any of that. I think the rest of it's still going to stay pretty much the same.
Much money, and like you said, that's the only thing that they care about at this point because they're all sucking wind. I think that Ryan Reynolds is now talking about having a Blade legacy type thing where he brings back Wesley Snipes to close that story off. And he's made so much money because this is all driven, even from the beginning of Deadpool, it was all Ryan Reynolds. He leaked the initial test footage. I mean, this is all his thinking. So he'll be the executive producer and they'll just do whatever. It's like, okay, make decisions because we need money and you make money. Obviously, every decision you've ever made has made us money.
And it's so weird because, as you said, not a big fan of Deadpool. I'm not. Yep. And I'm not a huge fan of Rob Liefeld, although I have developed more of an empathy with him as I've grown. But I don't place him in the upper echelons of comic creators and stuff. And you know what? I know that sounds superior and all that stuff, but
he's no John Buscema. He's no John Byrne. He's no Jack Kirby. But he does hold a significant niche, just like Todd McFarlane. And some people would place Todd McFarlane far above him, considering he's made $1 billion business with his toy manufacturing. But Rob Liefeld.
Take a moment. Yeah. Gather yourself. I know it hurts. No.
always liked Rob Liefeld, but he can't draw feet, and
No.
his anatomy is terrible.
Is
So-
awful.
and
And
they
his
make-
writing is as bad as his feet.
Right,
And they make a joke.
but see, here's the thing that I always said, like, all the complaints about Rob Liefeld, I 100% agree with. But the dude made his living writing comics, and
Oh, yeah.
how many people are envious of that? You know, like
No,
drawing
no,
comics,
yeah,
right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
you know,
that's why.
and
that's
yeah,
why-
I remember reading Youngblood's #1 aloud, and how ridiculous it was, you know, in
I
a
loved
bad
it.
way. And I also think Deadpool is everything that's wrong with 90s era comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm with you. Deadpool's never been my guy.
He's knockoff Deathstroke.
But
He's
in the
totally-
same way that Robert Downey Jr. was made to play Iron Man, I feel like Ryan Reynolds was made to play Deadpool.
Well,
100%.
Ryan Reynolds was not
And it
only
just
made
works.
to play
So
him.
let him cook.
Ryan Reynolds was not only made to play him. Ryan Reynolds is absolutely necessary to recreate Deadpool into something that is valid and that is funny. And it's like realizing it's like you came in. It's like Lucas came in with Star Wars, well, something akin to that, a Star Wars type idea that if he was left to his own devices would have sucked, right? And he had to have other people come in and put it right. Ryan Reynolds comes across to me as the guy who put Deadpool as right as it could be, where now it's written funny, it's acted funny, and all of that. It's kind of a realization of what the character was supposed to be, and it was never going to be that with Liefeld.
It would not. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. He added the dimensions to it that made it something that was a classic character as opposed to just a throwaway or a side character, right?
Yeah.
And the depth that he added to it, and it all comes from him. It's just his personality.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
The thing that I liked about his comedy forever. Just all brought, from the Van Wilder days to the movie Waiting, which I still find is one of the funniest films ever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. He's very much. They owe so much to his performance and his love of that character to elevate it. He elevated it. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. He elevated the character beyond what it would have been.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
took fast food and made it a gourmet meal.
Truth.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Kelly, what do you think?
I like it. I like the Deadpool movies. So, I thought it was a good time. I enjoy myself. It's one
I found them pedantic and derivative.
Oh, whatever. Shut it.
I don't even know what those words mean.
No, in a time where you go and you spend a mint to go to a movie and you walk away. When I walk away more often disappointed than not, the Deadpool movies have consistently delivered. I'll go and I'll say, that was a good time. I had a good time watching that movie. And I felt the same way about this one. I have no problems with the Deadpool movies.
It was exactly what you would have wanted it to be.
It's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Right. And when you went there, it's like Mark going and seeing a Michael Bay film. Mark's going to go there and love it.
Explosions. There's humans helping out the robots.
Absolutely. This was the same kind of thing, just in a more valid lane.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I like how they treated Wolverine, because when they came in the beginning and he starts talking about, being able to regenerate, I was, there's that thought of like, oh God, here they're going to do that. But no, they didn't. Dead is dead. And that was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. I liked that. I kind of had an inkling that's what he was going to end up doing, especially when he said, well, we're not going to, honor that. We're just going to, S all over it and all that. I thought that was awesome that they went ahead and honored it anyway. That was cool.
So I want to take an informal poll. What was your favorite fight? I know what mine is. What was your favorite fight out of the ones between Deadpool, Wolverine, or any of the other characters? What was your favorite fight out of the ones that happened? Because there's 3 or 4 major ones.
The one in the minivan.
Mark?
I'm leaning toward the minivan as well. Yeah.
Sean?
See, for me, it wasn't actually a fight. It was any time Dogpool showed up. That's what I love.
Well, I'm just pulling the fights itself. Which one would be your favorite?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I actually liked it with the whole thing with Johnny Storm. But that
Okay.
wasn't a fight. That was
No,
more like
yeah.
an incident, you know?
Yeah, well, so we're unanimous. The minivan fight was one for the ages. When he knocked him through the roof of the minivan, I almost fell out of my chair. It was awesome because you figured, oh, okay, Deadpool's got him on the ropes, and then, but that's the thing. So
Yeah, don't get me wrong. That was great. It's just I saw it with Helena,
yeah,
and every time Dogpool showed up and started licking his mouth, and Helena sitting there going, ew, ugh, ew. That's what made it my favorite part was
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I think this dovetails into my criticisms of the movie,
good.
of which I have a couple. Right, on the whole, great movie. I enjoyed it, had a good time. I've seen it twice in the theater, so like I don't want to make it sound like I don't like this movie because I really do. But when Deadpool and Wolverine are fighting, they both heal. Like there's no stakes there. It's cool to watch, but neither of them's going to get really hurt or die or. So at some point you're just like, okay, let me finish. And then number two, going into the movie, I told my wife, I said, what I want to see is Wolverine go ham. I want to see him do Wolverine and just like R-rated murder some people, right? And what did he do? He murdered a bunch of Deadpools that all immediately came back to life, right? So my criticism is, other than some TVA agents who Deadpool killed in early, there wasn't a lot of stakes as far as like people getting killed or whatever. And yeah, you got the cool, saber teeth scene that was over like that. But the main scene where we got to see Wolverine do a Wolverine, there was no outcome. They all got up later. And so I felt a little disappointed at that. And the minivan scene was really cool, but it was just watching a cool fight. You knew nobody was going to win it or lose it. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And then the other thing I kind of didn't really like about the movie is the main bad guy. Like her character was pretty unforgettable. I thought it was a little bit like lazy. Professor X is bald. We'll make her bald. That was the extent of characterization. I'm unfamiliar with her from the comics, so I don't know if she's bald in the comics or not. Right, but I was just like, she wasn't Thanos. She wasn't somebody that everybody's supposed to be afraid of her because they told us to be afraid of her. Not because I was afraid of her, right?
That part definitely came across to me as convenience for the rest of the vehicle,
Yeah.
Kind of.
Let me
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm familiar with Cassandra Nova.
This is your chance.
You guys are obviously unfamiliar with Cassandra Nova.
No, I know her.
Yeah, she was the.
I know the name, but I was unfamiliar with her in the
primary. Okay, she was the
comics. Yes.
Well, Mark's unfamiliar. So she was the primary villain of the beginning of the Grant Morrison run of X-Men, where things took a really dark turn for the X-Men. Things got very dark, very, very dark in the X-Men at that point, and the whole kind of mutant apocalypse storyline, where that was the origin of them going off to Genosha and forming their own society and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. That all had its roots in Cassandra Nova, and I agree with you. For the average layman comic, kind of the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
casual
tourist, casual. Thank you. Yeah, they wouldn't have any. She's like, oh, she's just a female Professor X. There's more to her than that, but I thought they did a really good job with making her a serious threat.
I think the issue wasn't so much that. I think the issue with Deadpool is that if you're going to try to have a villain in there has to be, as Mark said, some stakes that are involved in it. And when it's a comedy of the type that Deadpool is, it's hard to pivot like in a moment to suddenly it's supposed to be a serious threat kind of thing. Really, it's almost out of it. Well, it is. It's out of place. With Deadpool, it feels like you're watching kind of an airplane-like movie,
Yeah.
And when you try to throw something in there that's suddenly deadly serious and, it feels out of place. It doesn't feel natural. So I think that movie is behind the eight ball with that, just trying to do something that way. I just kind of blew it off as, okay, it's a vehicle to give the excuse for this.
I didn't take any. I mean, respect the opinion. Of course, I've come on here and criticized a lot of movies, but I don't think this movie was trying to be anything other than what it was. I
Right.
don't think the villain was intended to be some, great existential threat to anything. And I think the fights between
Yeah.
Wolverine and Deadpool, I mean, you go into it knowing, okay, none of these characters are going to die, but it's, I don't know. For me, it hit the marks I think it was trying to hit. And it is what it is. If you put it up against other films, yeah, it's going to be lacking certain things, but I think it also knew what it was trying to
Right.
be at the beginning.
Right. And to be fair, those are my only real two criticisms. I
Yeah.
got to see Wolverine go full Wolverine, but then they all got back up. And so that was a little disappointing to me because I wanted to see Wolverine
You
be
know
an
what?
R-rated Wolverine. You know what I mean? Like, what would those claws do to people? And we got
Well,
to
you
see a
saw
little
that
bit
in
of it.
Logan, right? You saw that in Logan. I mean, that's
A
Well,
very
little
definitely-
bit in Logan.
I know
like
what
a
he's
tiny
talking-
little bit, but he
little.
wasn't in his uniform.
I
He
know
wasn't
what
an
Mark's,
X-Men.
I know what
Yeah.
Mark's talking about. You're looking for Prime Wolverine doing his
Right.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean. But
looking
you know
for
what I would have liked to have seen?
133 Wolverine.
Well, let me go back and ask a question. Was Cassandra Nova bald in the comics?
Yes. Oh yeah, she looked just like she did
Okay.
here. She actually looked older in the comics.
Okay.
She wasn't as
Right.
nice.
And I liked the way she looked in this movie. Like, it was a cool look. It just felt a little on the nose, like, oh, I'm Xavier's twin, and therefore I have to be bald too. And I'm like, that's not necessarily how that works, but okay, I'll run with it. So sorry,
Maybe
Sean,
the
go ahead.
family just has a genetic thing.
Well, no,
You
it's
know,
part of their
Maybe they
mutation.
do. No, but there's X-Men movies where he's got hair.
It's
So
part
I'm
of
not
their
buying it.
part of their mutation as they come into their mutation that they go bald, basically.
Blow their hair off.
Yeah.
You
it
know,
blows the hair off their head.
I was thinking in the lines of the villain. The one I would have liked to have seen in that movie would have been Mojo.
That would have been cool. Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Introduce the Mojo verse. Could have
Right.
introduced
I think
Armstrong.
for someone like
Meredith
Deadpool, I think that kind of fits better.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a ridiculous hero, kind of having that ridiculous villain at the same time, I
Yeah.
think
Oh, it
that.
would have been
So
great. The little
Yeah.
Mojo
Right.
verse.
And again, I don't want to make it sound like a
Era.
huge criticism. I had a good time. I'd see it again if somebody was like, we got family coming into town in the next couple of days. And if they're like, let's go see Deadpool, I'd be like, okay, sure. So I would absolutely see it again. These are very minor criticisms from me that I completely understand why they did what they did, etc. Cool. But yeah, I mean, to me, this is a 9 out of 10.
So I'm gonna
I
push.
love the movie.
I'm going to push back on your criticism. Not that I think that it's invalid. I think I just view it.
Bring it, sunshine.
I view it from a different point of view. The fact that they were both indestructible. It reminded me of two brothers, an older brother and a younger brother, beating the crap out of each other, and that
I have no
the
idea what
reason
that's
they weren't allowed to go too far because at one point, Wolverine tells
Yeah,
them.
I don't understand. I have no frame of reference for this at all.
At one point, Wolverine tells him, he's like, "Well, let's see you grow back your face, right?" And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" No, because he knew that was going to be a problem, right? So they could, they could hack, like you saw it with the in the bus fight. The one Deadpool has little baby arms because he hacked off both his limbs.
Mhm. Right, right.
They could have jacked each other up. I think there was an inherent.
I think
They
it was the
don't
message of the movie to show the futility of violence.
No, absolutely, especially with what happened to poor old Johnny Storm. But
Nobody wins when violence is involved.
I did find it very highly entertaining that that Deadpool got his comeuppance at the very end of the film in the post-credit scene. So, he's like, "I told you, I told you it was real." I actually thought that they were going to go the other way, truthfully, but it was nice to see Captain America / the Human Torch running his Brooklyn mouth there, but it was pretty good. So
yeah, I enjoyed that part. So
yeah, but
It subverted my expectations.
subverted, yes, in a good
Pleasantly.
way, not in the normal way, which is we're doing this just to make you angry because you're on the wrong side of history. No, it's like, oh, I didn't expect that. It was nice.
does anybody else find it odd that the two kids from Bad News Bears, the one that played Buttermaker's adopted daughter and the kid who played the ultimate athlete, both grew up to look odd?
This is a hard right turn.
Yeah, I am not familiar enough with the Bad News Bears.
A very
to
hard right
comment.
turn there, brother.
Yeah,
That's
man,
what
you
you call
gotta
a
gotta give
palate
us a little pre-show prep for
That's
that
a
kind of a
palate
left turn.
cleanser. I mean,
No, that's a palate cleanser, is what
you know, the
that
Bad
is.
News
Okay,
Bears.
yes, I'm shocked.
I haven't thought about that movie since 1978 when it came out. So.
Oh, that was a great movie. That
Yeah,
was
it
a
was.
great one. That was an awesome.
You're killing
movie.
me, Smalls.
Was it Walter Matthau, the coach?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
You
a
can't
classic.
rate that movie now. You cannot do that now. No,
Much like
no.
Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the things I've been doing on YouTube is I watch people react to movies. You know, and the trick is you got to find some good people that you like reacting to movies, and they're watching all the ones I love the most, but they're not familiar with it. You know, and so
Right.
you get the vicariously watching somebody experience The Usual Suspects, right, for the first time, etc. You know, and you're like, okay, this is fun.
Oh,
So-
red wedding effect.
That's
Yeah,
why
exactly,
I started showing. That's why I started showing that girl at work those movies. You know, all those.
right.
And she's been loving that. She loved The Big Lebowski, which was awesome. I was so glad for that. She loved that. Loved Dune. Loved Blade Runner. You know, just yeah, that's a lot of fun when you can have that sort of thing, especially because they never thought to experience that stuff, or you know.
Right.
Did she
And,
talk
oh,
about the?
she just
Did she
finished
talk about the
Children of Men,
running
just-
time?
Huh?
Did she talk about the running time of Blade Runner?
No,
If she didn't mention the running time of Blade Runner, my guess is she never watched it.
no, she watched it. We had
Blade
a long
Runner puts me to
discussion.
sleep every time I watch it.
We had a long discussion about that. She loved that. Loved that movie.
Good movie, long. That's all I got. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my wife and I are in season 2 of
movie,
The Sopranos.
Good movie. That's the.
And I've
commentary.
decided it's time to watch Goodfellas. So she's going to experience Spider.
You
and
never watched
and,
Goodfellas? What the hell's wrong with you?
she's never watched Goodfellas.
Oh, she's never watched it. Okay, I was gonna say.
I love
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Right.
Has she seen Sopranos?
We're in season 2 of Sopranos.
Oh,
so
okay.
I've explained that, hey, these two characters or these two actors were in this other movie. And I wasn't sure how she would dig The Sopranos, but she's loving it. And so I was like, okay, now that we're, I don't know, halfway through season 2, I'm like, okay, she's probably ready for Goodfellas to see what came before. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
especially if you get past the stuff with get her past the stuff with Ralphie. That's if she survives that, then you know, yeah, she'll be all right with anything. Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys: So the comic actor Wolverine was
The
it
what?
just me? The
The
comic
short guy?
Yeah, it was just shorterine. Yeah. The
Oh,
comic
him.
actor.
Yeah.
So was it just me, or were his proportions way out of? He just didn't look right to me. It's like they crushed him in a. They just took. They didn't reproportion his.
I don't know where you're going with that, but it didn't
Right,
sound
well,
like something I wanted to hear.
I know, but short people have the same proportions as regular sized people. They're just shorter.
He looked really
No,
weird.
you're cutting out, man.
I don't know. I don't know. He looked. I don't know. He looked.
I
Small.
mean, they may have gone a little hard for comedic effect, but it
Yeah,
worked.
I think they did.
I think-
Yeah, you know, so like,
He's like that comic actor. I said, "Oh, comic actor. Well, I don't know about that. He looks a little strange to me." I've known some short people, but they don't look quite like that. Like the legs were too short compared to the torso or something. Something about it looked really bizarre to me.
Are you guys looking forward to any of the other ones coming out this year?
What's coming out this year?
what's coming out this year?
Well, like Alien, Romulus, that kind of thing.
Oh,
No.
So
I'm gonna go see it. Like 100%. I'm gonna go see it. I'm all in on the Aliens franchise. I do not have high hopes. It looks like a lot of what we've seen. Oh,
It
look,
looks-
you know, we had aliens and it didn't go well, and they ate everybody on the space station, and these kids come along to steal some tech or whatever, and hilarity ensues. I mean, like,
Doesn't it strike
okay.
you as kind of slasher film and space vibes
Yeah.
now?
yeah.
yeah,
Very much. So that's one of the. So it's funny you bring this up because it was a complaint I had because I haven't been to the movies in years now, and the half hour of trailers and commercials I had to sit through before the movie started. Every time I thought one was going to
you're doing it wrong, Rich. As a movie veteran of the current age,
here's
what you do: you get your tickets online. You know where your seat is. The movie starts at 7 p.m. You could roll in at 7:30 and not miss anything.
Oh, I'm aware.
Right now, I personally like seeing the trailers, and so I'm all about getting there and sitting there and seeing the trailers.
Too,
but if you're bringing the family and they're running late and they want to blah blah blah, and you just it used to be like, oh my god, we got to get there to get good seats or whatever. I already got good seats. I bought them ahead of time. I know exactly where I'm sitting.
One of the best laughs I ever got in a movie.
That is the thing I love about going to the movies now. Is like you can roll in when you want, early, late, whatever. You're good.
One of the best laughs I ever got in the movies was during the trailers. I went to go see something with Drew up in Baltimore, him and Helena and Drew and his wife, and they were playing a trailer for Transformers first, and then after that they played a trailer for some Kevin Costner movie with him as a helicopter rescue team guy in the ocean or something. And it had, I think that kid from that 70s show or something was in it as well or something. Yeah, and I remember after that trailer, I said, wow, that movie really makes me want to go see Transformers. and the girl behind me just started laughing really, out loud. And that made me feel very good. That was one of my favorite memories.
For you, Sean. Yeah,
what's that?
Beetlejuice looks really funny to me. I'm looking forward to that one. The new Beetlejuice.
See, I don't feel excited about that because it feels like it's on the same level as that Alien movie, which, by the way, I will go see the Alien movie on the hopes that there's something cool in there.
Right.
But it gives me the vibes that it's let's play up, what the first one was.
Yeah, they're
just
definitely
magnified.
They're definitely gonna hit those jokes,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a nostalgia cash grab.
Right.
It's been so long. They're like, what can we make? Let's remake Beetlejuice, and
it's the
maybe it'll be good. Maybe it's a new generation thing. Like, the cynic in me is like, you're gonna get all the people that saw it before, and some of these newer actresses are like people are popular. Like, just stick them in a movie and
Ortega's actress,
right.
What
like,
do you think about
she's.
Dune? What about Dune Prophecy?
I haven't seen it.
That's the show on HBO Max. Yes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Give me a Game of Thrones level Dune. I'm there, man. Let's do it.
I mean, Dune is the progenitor of all, so of course I'm looking forward to it. Of all.
Right. I'm here for it until they, screw it up.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't
is
seen
it going to be bad? Is it going to be good? HBO has done both.
Yeah.
Right, Max. We're calling it, right? I'm hoping it leans more toward Game of Thrones House of the Dragon than it does Rings of Power or,
What'd you think of, by the way, what'd you think of the last season there of House of the Dragon?
I loved it. I wasn't sure if there was one more episode or not, right? And so at the end of the episode where all the pieces are, this army's doing this and these guys are doing that, I was like, oh, yeah, we're getting somewhere. And I was like, man, the next show is going to be great. And it is going to be great. We're just going to have to wait a year and a half for it.
See, I think all the people who are upset about that, I don't get that. You want something. The thing about that show, that story is that they put a lot of effort into giving you how they got there and all the different, like you said, all the different pieces and nuances that go into it. But it seems like people just want them to step on the gas and just show me dragons fighting all day. Like you're going to, just make like a pseudo National Geographic documentary where you're following, dragons in the wild.
That would be cool.
No, I think House of the Dragon is a masterclass in pacing. Like, it's such a masterclass in pacing. The whole of season 1 was setting up, getting us interested in who the people are and understanding the world and vested in points of view. Right, because now it's Targaryens, Hightower, whatever. Season 2 is kind of the opening stages of this war. Like it's a hot war, but it's not a hot war. You know what I mean? And then and they did a really good job of setting
I thought they did a great
up
job
and showing us a lot of cool things, and I'm here for it. I have no complaints.
You know, I think the thing people miss about those who complain about it, miss about the second season, is as you were mentioning, the writing and the pacing of it. We were talking about the nuances of the characters, and it seems like people just want to go past that and get to, okay, check the box and give me the dragons doing their thing. And you have these characters, like we were talking about the consequences of decisions made so long ago, and how they continue to bring forth the fruits of those labors for good or ill and all that. And then you have like the whole thing with Rhaenyra and Alicent and their consistent meetings and all of that, and how they've kind of changed places as to who's trying to do what, and all that. Really well done. And then people like Kristen Cole, that speech he had, or that little monologue he had at the end, or was it the end, or in this last episode, where he was talking about feeling shame um, and that the corruption of men and not having a philosophy, and how Alicent had saved his life twice because he's sitting there, deriding him for putting aside his oaths and all that. And he's like, man, she saved my life twice, And this is what we were talking about before. This is why the characters are nuanced and not just straight up evil and all of this. He's a compilation of events like everyone else. And I thought it was just really well done. And can't understand why someone would be into the show and yet not into these aspects of the characters. It's just very, very strange to me that I thought it was well done, like you did, Mark.
Yeah, no.
And sets up next
We
season
loved
really
it.
well.
Yeah,
Really
I'm on
well.
board. Let's do it. As
Especially
long as they don't get
considering all
lazy
this-
and want to run off and make Star Wars movies and phone in the next season, we're going to be in good shape.
I never get tired of seeing people get into the show and immediately trying to assign to it, even though they're familiar with it, trying to assign to it tropish, this is what's going to happen. I bet these people are going to, and these ones are the good ones. These, they get in, and I know what's coming. And it just baffles me that they would, instead of looking at it and say, no, that's too easy. Something's got to be different. Something's up.
Yeah.
They just go right into Rhaenyra's good. Or
I think
whatever
Rhaenyra is
happens.
the better of the options,
Yeah,
right? But
Damon, let's be honest, that's the hero.
Hmm.
That's the hero of the whole show. I love, by the way, the vision that they gave him and all of that. I think that was great character development for him. His visit to Harrenhal, I thought was really well done. His character arc is really good. Has been rewarding for me anyway. I like that.
Yeah, and I remember talking to my wife. We were talking about the show like the next day. We're driving somewhere, and I was like, "We know what happens to Harrenhal. You know what I mean from Game of Thrones. Like we know that's a thing that's going to happen. And unlike you, who's read the book this stuff is based on, I haven't, and I don't want to while I'm watching the show. So I'm like, all I really know about the next season or the future is Harrenhal is going to get roasted by some dragon fire. Go. But the way this one ended, you got armies doing this and armies doing that, and dragons over here and new dragon riders and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. The pieces are in play. I think it's going to be a really, really messy next season, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, with a lot of things that are going to happen that you're like, well, if this had been a traditional story, that I wouldn't have seen that coming, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And you're right, Mark. I was telling another lady at work, she was talking about reading the books between now and next season because she can't wait. She wants to know. And I told her that's a mistake. I said, if I was you, I wouldn't do it. I said, I've read the books. And so as I'm watching the show, it's not like I'm seeing it for the first time. It's like, I'm seeing validation of it, or, some sort of chronicling of events that I, like know from history, you know what I mean? And I'm seeing the documentary of, you're seeing it like for the first time. So you get to experience it and get all those feelings and all that stuff. I don't get that. And if you've read a book, and I brought you up, Rich, like with Dune, where when you read a book, sometimes if it doesn't click with what you have as your idea of that, it takes away all the joy, which could have been otherwise a very enjoyable experience had you not known any of that.
Yeah.
So I
right.
told her I'd stay away from the book and just watch the show and then read the book if you want. You know.
Yeah, like I said, enjoyed Dune 2. Just it wasn't a Dune. It was just a Dune product to me.
Right. I mean, it also really helps that I never learned to read. So
You just make your mark. That's all.
Well, as long as I mean, they make Dune books with pictures, so we can do it.
Yeah, why do you think I'm so into comics, right?
So anyway, yeah, I was looking forward to the Dune show. Hopefully, that's going to be good too. See what happens with that.
I'll have to watch the trailer. I hadn't seen that one, so I'll check it out. I've got it now. I've got it queued up. So
yeah, what else? The Borderlands thing. I knew that was going to be awful. That just
Must.
yeah.
0% out of
Well,
0.
the 13-year-old may want to go see that, so I may be forced to go endure
Really?
that
Why?
as part of my homework. He's big into video games, stuff like that, and
Yeah, but we're big into
he-
Borderlands, and
I understand that, but I mean he's 13.
If we don't, how many hours have we invested?
But like we
in
came out of one of the Jurassic Park movies, and I'm like, oh, I didn't like this, that, or the other. And he's like, hey, giant dinosaurs are cool. I can't believe you didn't like that. That's the level of like he wants to see.
but now you know how I feel, Mark. Going to movies with you.
We played Borderlands.
And I love his boyish optimism when it comes to.
He is 13. He is old enough to go see a movie by himself. That doesn't mean you have to go. You
That's
can
right.
drop him off and pick him up, or just send an Uber.
He can do like you. You don't even have to give him money. He can do like you and just sneak in. Go see War Games.
Or buy the tickets and then tell them I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom, and don't come back for 2.5 hours.
And don't come back. Just go sit in Deadpool again.
It was a hard no to do. I couldn't do anything about it.
So anyway, yeah, that was all I had for that stuff. Everything else is, I don't know, man, like Star Wars and all that. I just don't have
let me stop you right there. Talking about anything else after we've talked about Deadpool and House of the Dragon is going to bring it down. So I'm going to put the kibosh on it.
Yeah, I know. No, that's what I'm saying.
It's two very high notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I will allow some discussion of the new Space Marine movie or game rather that's coming out in about a month. So
hold on. I've got one for you, Sean.
I don't know. I'm hovering over the pause button in case.
Okay. You're cutting out my audio on purpose this time. The new Hellboy movie is actually selling me a little bit on the story. The effects look kind of, but I will say the more I see of the new Hellboy movie, the more interesting it looks to me as just a movie, as opposed to part of the Hellboy universe.
I don't know, man. It's going to need to have some really good reviews to move me.
It's starting to sell me a little bit just looking at the story and the way that they're putting together the horror elements of it. Actually, they look decent, but I'm saying I'm at the beginning I was not willing to give it a shot at all. Now I'm willing to actually I might watch this when it's on my stream.
Have you seen House of the Dragon, by the way?
I actually since I got Max, I have access to all of it. Right. And I have it on UHD. I haven't had the time to watch it yet. That's a lot of watching. So, but I want.
If you get to episode 7 of season 2, the last what was it, Mark? The last 15 minutes or something. You could just put that on a loop.
Okay. I will get to it because I bought it,
and that's going to beat anything else that you're going to watch. That's just more satisfying on so many levels. I just picture that dude on the platform there, Mark, the one who was the first one to go up there. I picture him as like Robbie.
You guys talked up so much that I actually went out and bought it. So I'm committed now. It's just I need to find the time to. It's a lot of watching.
I know it is.
Yeah,
it is. How about you, Kelly? Have you seen that?
What, House of the Dragon?
Yes, sir.
I haven't finished watching the season. I've got a couple more episodes to go.
Season 1 or season 2?
Whatever the latest one is. I lost count.
Season 2.
Right.
Yeah. You saw the one where with the fight with Kristen Cole and his army and all that. Yeah, you're going to go through the second season.
Yeah.
Spoiled. Now it's spoiled. I'm not watching.
No, I can spoil it for you.
No, it's okay. I'll be all right. I'll watch it. I'll get to it.
By the way, I was very glad for the ending in that episode. just to be contrarian to everyone else. I was cheering.
So you said you wanted to talk about Space Marine 2 quickly approaching on the horizon there, Mark?
Not really. I just wanted to not talk about some things that were going to be decidedly worse than the high point of Deadpool and House of the Dragon season 2, because those are both great. And then that's like saying, "Oh, let's go talk about, you know."
Well, no, I didn't. I don't
or
want to
something,
talk
you know,
about. I don't want to talk about them. That was my point. Is that I think
Yeah.
these were the high points of the year, past couple years actually. So far
Yeah,
is
so far.
is those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so we're
I mean,
optimistically looking forward to the new Space Marine game, Space Marine 2.
I am.
I'm hopeful. I don't know. I don't know how I feel
The
about
words that said you were hopeful, the tone
I
did
know.
not agree
It's
with
been
your
let
words.
down so many times.
That's
You're
what
like,
I mean.
oh, I love this so much.
It's been let down so many times.
I know that's exactly it.
Right,
Yeah, I
right.
want. Maybe I should say I want to be hopeful for it, and
Can't anymore.
go.
I'm tired.
I aspire to hopefulness.
There you go. Yeah, I hope to have hopefulness for it. There you
Yeah.
go.
I
Yeah.
hope that it
Lord
doesn't
willing.
let me down.
I just want something that I can go into and just bask in the awfulness that was the 40K universe and not have to be taught life lessons or, anything like that. I don't want a Three's Company-esque sort of, 40K experience. I just want
I
pure,
just want to purge the unclean. Is that asking too
I
much?
just want awful horror, just terrible nonsense, destructive for no other reason than it's just awful kind of goodness. That's all I want.
I want to shoot a bunch of space dinosaurs in the face.
Well, that's
It's
what it was in
never-
the last one that Rich and I were playing. I mean, that's nothing but just nonstop. Let's
Oh,
just
yeah.
go kill
That's
everything.
Go in
And
there and
that's
blast
what
away.
I'm hoping for is something that's not controversial in any way, or I just want the enjoyment of escapism into that world that I know or knew so well that I can just, like I said, bask in the awfulness that is or was that 40K universe.
The grim
Just
dark.
for a bit.
Feel
Just
the
for
grim
a
dark.
bit.
Yes.
Then I can walk off to my grave a happy man. and
Yeah,
and
no,
the world
I-
can have it.
I've dacked enough.
In that one that Rich and I were playing, I don't think there was one single rescue mission. I think
Nope.
every mission involved
Everything was
go,
misery.
just go kill everything as much as you can kill everything, and then kill it again.
And they told you you were worthless every day.
Yeah,
Every day they told you were useless,
yeah.
you were worthless, you were terrible, that you didn't have any value. Even when you did something good, you did it wrong.
And they would put up different messages in the beginning, things the
Yeah.
Emperor said, and then there was one that said redacted by the Inquisition, which I thought was just awesome. That was a nice little touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's still good. They've done so much content for that game. I haven't played it in a while. That it's gotten beyond me. There's now so many missions and new stuff on there. I'm kind of daunted to go back to it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
No idea.
yeah. So if it's along that lines, then it'll be exactly what you want, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it is, that would be great. That's all I'm asking.
Maybe
for.
they finally.
I'm not
learned
going
their
there for a
lesson.
big fight with anybody else for anything other than just 40K stuff. That's all.
Maybe they've lost enough money that they've finally learned their lesson. I like to think of it as that they've been sent back to the barn and they've let the other animals roam free for a while.
Right.
And now,
We need a Halo 2 version of a 40K game.
Yeah.
Halo 2
That'd be
had
great.
so much playability with the campaign and the multiplayer.
Halo
that-
3.
Yeah, we'll lump those in together.
Halo 3.
Halo
That's the
2
one you
was
want.
a brand time.
Okay.
Halo 3 was awesome, where we had the screenshots and we could go through with the camera and see all the different.
Right. Yeah. That was the one. Yep.
That was the one, man. That was it. That was the best.
Right. So we
had
need a 40K version of that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like something
Yeah.
with all the replayability and the death matches and all that. That's what I'm hoping we get. And I'm very cautiously optimistic.
Like I said,
I don't think
I'm
we will.
hopeful to be hopeful.
a couple
I
of
don't-
streamers who
I
have
don't
been given
think we will.
access that you can watch and see. So, you want to take the time, it's out there.
Nah, I ain't got time for that.
Okay. Then I guess you'll just be surprised.
Or not. So,
Or not.
Or disappointed.
Or disappointed, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
started
Which
disappointed
is
and
my
worked my
natural
way
state.
back.
So
Yeah.
There you go.
If you start with disappointment, you'll always be in a good place.
So, Kelly, I wanted to ask you: is Deadpool the last movie you'd enjoyed in some time?
Maybe.
Because I was trying to think if there was anything else that you actually enjoyed.
Well, see, okay, look, this is going to
You
be
like the
sort of a
Quiet
back.
Place movie,
This
didn't
is going to be no. Well, did I like Quiet Place? I've watched all the Quiet Place movies. After the first one, it's all progressively gone downhill. But like Mark said, we hit high marks. Let's not ruin it and sully it by talking about other things.
right.
In the Deadpool movies, I think the thing that allows me to enjoy it is my expectations are set going in. I'm not
Mhm.
expecting, I'm not
You have
expecting
correct expectations
right.
going in.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even want to say that it's
Not
like,
too high, not too low. Right.
I'm not expecting great storytelling because it's a fine story, but it's exactly the story I expected to be told. And I had a good time with it. And so if I can go in and just let go of everything else, which I feel I can do with Deadpool, and I think you should, if you go into Deadpool with some sort of like, I need to learn something from this, you've got bigger problems than the movie does.
Yeah. Or this
And
is
Yeah.
going to set up the
Yeah.
next 5 Marvel movies or whatever. Right.
Which
Yeah.
maybe, that's probably a very good point, Kelly. That's probably why I enjoyed it as much as I did. Much like I was talking about with Space Marine, I just wanted to go there to get away, just to have nonsense, fun kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it delivered exactly what I was hoping for. That's all I asked. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that's why it works. I mean, criticisms of Rob Liefeld or Deadpool in the comics and things like, all of that aside, the movie does what you think it's going to do. Ryan Reynolds has done an amazing job with that. And yeah,
Yeah.
I can't fault it on that front.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. It's a masterpiece. It's done.
On that note,
It's a
4
film.
thumbs up, 1 from each
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Terrible.
Here you go, Kelly. Do the other half.
Kelly.
Make it work. Teamwork makes the
I
dream work.
knew that was going to happen. I knew it.
Oop.
Which is why it's glorious.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you as always. And I will see you boys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Fight it.
This concludes our Speak Nerd and Enter broadcast.